Okay.
Okay, say it again. The emperor.
Hello. Okay.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Oscar-winning movie, Archbishop Prince Mike Johnson, the Emperor of Africa, the Attorney General of Africa, and the Archbishop. Hi. Can you eat for my dough?
Sorry, can't.
Huh? You can't? Why? Yes, you can. So we need to build up our country. That's why I'm doing this movie as the Emperor of Africa, Archbishop Prince Mike Johnson, the Attorney General of Africa, and the Archbishop of Africa. Because we destroy everything. Any chance we have, when we have any opportunity, we destroy the components of our politics, we destroy the value of our politics, and we destroy the validity of our politics. We should not be doing that. We're supposed to build our country and make sure our country is the greatest place in the world. So that's why I'm here, to make a difference as the Emperor of Africa, Archbishop Prince Mike Johnson. The political component of our country should be effective, powerful, loving, and predictable. We must be able to predict our political dialogue. Our political dialogue should be predictable. Predictable and sensible. So that's what we need and have to do. We are on a mission to build our nation. We are on a mission to build our nation. That nation we are building must be democratic, diplomatic, free and fair. As leaders, we must rise to the mantle of the office, securing substantive bipartisan victories from historic trade legislation to a comprehensive legislation package to address the national crisis that has been a referendum basic scientific, maintaining a testament of advanced human civilization. Because we are advanced, we are not criminals and thieves destroying a political system when we are supposed to be advanced in human civilization. Political advances, new approaches to changing economic values, designing experience for a connected world. We are connecting the world. Not only Africa, it's a global economics. Connected world of boldness, resonate, product management, product franchising, and users experience design. We need to experience the design of our country and see that our country is a design experience of power and joy and hope and power. That's why I'm here in the Oscar-winning movie Archbishop Prince Mike Johnson, right here on Netflix, CNN African Business Startup, CNN African Voices. I'm right here in Europe now, in America, in China, doing the sponsor, looking for sponsor of my movie. Users experience design. Our nation must be at the forefront of this effort, interacting with technology in a new way of Executive Corporate Design Center. We suppose Executive Corporate Design Center to really design our country with biometrics, algorithms, and computer technology, the best of computer science, right there on Microsoft. Executive Corporate Design Center, representing the formation of the user's experience. We are the user. We need to experience our nation. We must have an African Development Center. They have it in Europe. They have it in America. Europe Development Center, American Development Center, China, Big Data Development Center, where conferences are held for big high-tech formation experience of simplicity and consistency. Africa must have the highest standard of living. Africa must have the highest standard of living. That's what they do in Europe and in America. In Europe, the European man will tell you to have the best standard of living than Africa. The American man will tell you the same thing. Electrical engineering, electrical technology, new source of energy. We are doing terrorism. Government officials supporting terrorists, killers, and insurgents when there's supposed to be peace in the nation. We have the opportunity, we are destroying the country, destroying every facet of the economic development. We have no right to be doing that. When terrorists are supposed to be killed and all its leaders liquidated, with terrorism and kidnapping, we are not ready to build our nation. We must build our country and make sure our people have peace and joy. New source of energy. There are different sources of energy. Biofuel, electrical energy, bioenergy, electrical technology, new source of energy, strong faith in our military strength. Because the terrorists cannot be stronger than our military strength. Our military is supposed to be millions strong, with national reserve, with a different type of military that we're supposed to have. National reserve, marine, or protecting the nation. Because hoodlums and thieves and killers and insurgents and terrorists have no right to be stronger than our military. Our military must be stronger than any kind of insurgent that comes around. Strong military strength, technical recognition, strengthen military and police force all over the world. They have strong military in Europe, millions of military personnel. Investing huge sum of budget for economic growth, leadership in technology, ideal of liberty, strong pragmatic leaders with strong institution. Not only leaders we need strong institutions. So that the new incumbent that will come in the leadership forum will follow the policy laid down by its predecessors. Because we must build up a great country where our future generation will be proud to see a nation that is being built. We budget on economic growth, leadership in technology, ideal of liberty, strong pragmatic leaders with strong institution, framework for economics, macro and macroeconomics, with legitimacy in opposition, mainstream political parties, conflict resolution in quick response, sense of resentment, producing friendly form of religiosity and nationality religious. There should not be religious conflict or tribal conflict. If there's a conflict, the Igwe or the chief or the Oba of that community must make sure there's peace. That's why we have a traditional leader to lead the people into peace, to lead the people into development. Credible alternative to free and fair computerized election, and political parties must be credible. Free and fair election before the vote, during the vote, and after the vote are counted. There must be free and fair election. Before the vote, during the vote, and after the votes are counted. Free and fair computerized election, and political parties, fixed ideology, focus on anti-corruption and zero tolerance to corruption. Broad issue of human development, better school, executive education, tackling poverty, climate change, and hunger eradication, multinational effective, multilateral investment, creating jobs for an overwhelming population. Our population is growing. We need to create jobs, or it will lead to crime. Minister of Budget and Planning, because the population is growing. If there's no job, it will lead to crime. Or we need to have wall in Nigeria, between Nigeria and Nigeria and Chad, Nigeria and Cameroon. Wall has border boundaries to close our country from outside world in global leadership. Open border transaction on legal platform with peace, and build our trade into political economies with very vital importance to our history. Our political economies is very vital to our political history, relying on our ethnicity and religious political views. Our political parties must have direction rooted in economic development, improving healthcare education, free healthcare, policing the environment, and maintaining progressive human rights policies. Rotation of effective powers is compulsory. Failing to do this, foreign policies will be in resignation in our cabinet. The reputation of our parliament and our leadership is a high principle of quality. We're supposed to have prime minister like Prime Minister Winston Churchill of England, Prime Minister Patrice Lumumba of Congo. Political career is a reputation of responsibility. We need conscientious leaders and ministers and chancellors foreign secretaries. Failing to do this, then we are guilty of political assassination. We should not be assassinating our political components. When nation building is a brilliant collective responsibility and a positive translation of economic awareness, we are not colonies. If I'm an African leader, I will not be in colony. If I'm an African leader, I would have been a global power now. You are a president, don't know how to become a global power with technology and nation building. We are not colonies, but conscientious champions with characteristic policies of agreement, government focused on delivering the people's priorities, political achievement on focused deliveries, priorities, standard acceptance of responsibility. According to Forbes and Fortune and magazine, The World Today and New Statesman, Global Economics Watch, complex area of judgment for legal positive dialogue. We need to have a legal positive dialogue with our political dialogue. Legal positive. We are not thieves and killers. Government officials aiding and abetting insurgents and terrorists. Anything we put our hand, we mess it up. We are not supposed to be doing that. Failing to build our country, failing to do this, or to boost our economies, we are on a fallout and fail out. Africa is the world's largest commercial market and the biggest political union but we lack effective, we lack peace, we lack credibility. We should not be doing that. The continent of Africa and our people are the greatest allies. Our people are our greatest allies. Because I have nothing to tell our people again. We cannot be thinking that China or Europeans are our allies. Thieves from China and thieves from Europe. Our African people are our greatest allies. We have no right to make the graduate unemployed when the graduate is supposed to build the nation. Graduates build Europe and America. They use their people to build their nation with information technology and valued political parties. Our political party must have values with foreseeable future that can govern a charismatic technocrat pendulum leadership of oneness. We are one. With realignment with traditional leadership to govern, we must regain our balance and policy support. An important change of cultural attitude is more important. Politics and domestic arrangement must be in traditional expectation, ideological spectrum for liberal progressive government with the latest technologies of biometrics algorithms. You are the Minister of Science and Technology, you don't know the meaning of biometrics or algorithms. Algorithms and biometrics, that is what we need to put into our political system. That's why our politics we have aim and objective. That's why our politics we have technological breakdown and technological improvement. We need to break down our politics into segment of department. It's easy, yes we can. Not yes I can, yes we can, because you can do nothing, we can do it together. Every part of Europe and America and China is technology. Shanghai in China and Beijing is higher economics than Europe and Africa. 2 cities in China. Our political science must communicate with us. And we must understand our civil society must drive a global cooperation. We are living in a global world. Failing to do this, our economies will be fragmented and invisible into monoculture. When we're supposed to be, we are in a multicultural, not monoculture. And an environment, we must have an environment that accelerates information, not disinformation. There must be checks and balances. Our nation information is the largest blockchain. We must rewrite our social contract and contrast with coal. Coal is an energy. Biofuel is an energy. Solar energy is an energy. So we must have alternative energy, which will increase the competitiveness of our renewable energy source. Stabilization, stable. We are not thieves and drug addicts and killers. Any terrorist or group of terrorists found in the country is supposed to be killed. Terrorism is not allowed. On a serious note, I'm talking now as the Emperor of Africa, Archbishop Prince Mike Johnson as the Attorney General and as the Archbishop. Terrorists are killed in Europe and America, everywhere in the world. That is not what we're supposed to be accepting. Kidnappers and armed robbers killed. Foreign investment supposed to invest with us to build up Here I formed the African International Criminal Court, African Special Force, and African Navy SEAL for peace, and African Development Democratic Force to make sure there's democracy in Congo. There's democracy in Congo now, 2019. There must be democracy in Burundi with President Nkurunziza. There must be democracy in Cameroon with President Biya. There must be democracy in Egypt with Abdel Fattah Sisi now of Egypt. Africa have totally no respect for democracy. When the president of Egypt is Morsil, we must have the respect for democracy, because democracy is a diplomatic dispensation that we need to respect and have, make sure there's peace in our country. Where terrorists, we have no stand of course, to open their mouth to be disturbing the nation. It takes guts to build our nation properly, becoming virtuous statement, improve economics into positive assumption, define secured involvement with our nation, with our nation into national interest of democracy, happiness, contentment, staying continuous in our political analysis of presidential success, climate change, border control, economic migration, automobile industry must improve, technological industry must improve in Africa. That is why I want to try to help now as the Emperor of Africa, the Attorney General, and the Archbishop. Because we're supposed to have iPhone, iPad, and iPod and call it the name of our nations. That will become global power. We build technology, we build armory to protect our nation with military, like what Russia is doing. Uranium is in Niger. Russia take the uranium. Uranium is a natural resources. Russia take the uranium and build a weapon. And we are not sleeping or creeping in dust. I want to wake Africa up now. That is why I'm here to help. As the Emperor of Africa, I will make sure that every 54 country in Africa is a global power with the different foundation that we be able and strong enough to diagnose the treatment of our future economies, helping every citizen in the nation to reach their dreams with wall, fences, and gates around our country. Failing to do this, our country will be unfairly detained. When with the China trade war, we are not part of that. Africa have the smoothest blockchain and the most intelligent and the most democratic business formation in human existence. The China trade war is not part of us at all. We need to build Africa up and tell the Chinese people to go to hell and the Europeans to go to hell. We don't need them. Our best allies are the African people, transaction model, central strategic flexible economics, economic growth and revenue projection, homegrown competition or product management, internal economics of scale, external economics of scale imbalance, and franchise trademark. Not only package with franchise, with trademark the goods and package the goods. Before that goods will be eligible for export in fabrication and merchandising, Minister of Trade and Industry, where everybody will have food to eat. By the Minister of Agriculture and Ranching will be there. There are more than 50 million cows in Nigeria and sheep. 50 million cows in Ghana. The Minister of Agriculture must make sure there's ranching and people have food to eat. Every minister must be effective. That is why you have the Attorney General. What are you doing, the Attorney General, now? Your work is to make sure that every minister is effective, including the President, where there will be zero tolerance to corruption. In Holland, if the Prime Minister of Holland says that he took 90 billion, he will be killed. In England, Theresa May will be indicted by Duke of Edinburgh if she says she has 90 billion pounds. In China, the president and the vice president will be killed, including the senator and the governor, by the Attorney General of China. The president of Philippines, Duterte, is going to kill the senator and the governor, saying that they have 90 billion. It's not allowed. Zero tolerance to corruption. We are building a nation. That nation must be built. Anything we put our hand, we will spoil it and mess it up with feet and shit we are putting here. When we're supposed to build the nation, this way our children will be thieves and rogues. We have no right to be doing that. And we are doing terrorism when the terrorist is supposed to be killed completely, and the armed robber and the kidnapper. With terrorism and kidnapping, the foreign investor is out of our nation. We should not be doing that. We need to build automobile. They build cars in Europe. They build telephones from Europe and China. All the natural resources is from Africa. China became global power with our natural resources. Russia became global power with our natural resources. Europe and America. You are a president, a vice president, a senator, a governor, local government chairman. You don't know the meaning of natural resources. And we should not be calling local government local. It's called county. County. That is the name. We must civilize. We are not local and primitive. Our animalistic and barbaric thieves and killers doing terrorism and corruption. If the Attorney General or the President or the IG, you are the IG. If you are summoned by the Senate, Speaker of the House of Senate, you must respect the Speaker of the House of Senate. And make sure you go to that summon. President or IG, do you understand me? Yes, sir. You are saying now, IG and President. You are not above the law. If you are summoned by the Senate, you are supposed to be there. Failing to do that, you are committing treason and bigamy. You have no right to be committing that kind of crime, IG, President or Attorney General. If someone in the Parliament, you are supposed to be there. This way we are helping to our citizens in our nations to reach their dreams. Yeah, from the African dream, where every citizen in Africa must achieve something in their nation, like the American dream. The American will not agree you are better than him or her. Failing to do this, our country will be unfairly detained. When African trade is the best transaction model in the world, central strategic flexible economies, economic growth, revenue projection, homegrown competition, product management, franchise trademark management, using international data, big data, to assess development. That way, the interconnection between African nations should be stronger. It's called internal trade. We must expand the bottom line economies of our nation. African firm becoming the best stock. African stock is the best in Dow Jones Industrial Average in Wall Street. Microsoft, Apple, Microsoft policies in our aggressive approach towards negotiation. We must have an aggressive approach. We need guts and aggressive approach to negotiate our country into optimistic implemented range of concessions, into improved restructuring. We are restructuring where our country is already structured with budget. So much illiteracy in our political planning. There must be intelligence, high profile people with intelligence. You make governor, you make ministers, you make president that can structure a nation. Our country is already structured with budget. Structuring the companies of Africa. Every company must be productive in a nation, and the Minister of Trade and Industry, Minister of Budget and Planning must make sure they support those companies. Substantive issues to representative negotiation, growth strategies, serious plan to develop a nation and the country's economy. Africa must lead the world in business negotiation into positive dictate with highest business marginal utility of African goods, business to business, manufacturing, and long-term strategies of microeconomics with mathematics, English language, chemistry, physics, biology, economics, and compulsory history that will dictate our country's heritage. Free and fair, peaceful election, computerized election. Before the vote, during the vote, and after the vote are counted, there must be free and fair election. Before the vote, during the vote, and after the vote are counted, there must be free and fair election. So we don't know the value of true peace. It's a shame. We must know the value of true peace. And the demographic transfer of effective incumbents. Every new leader coming in must be effective into higher pay. Payment must be given, higher loan, salary paid. If salary is not paid, there will be bribery and corruption. If salary is not paid, there will be criminality. Even workers on uniform committing crime with uniform, committing murder, committing corruption and bribery. When minimum loan is supposed to be paid, don't you have the minimum loan, Minister of Finance? Don't you have the minimum loan, Minister of Trade? You must pay minimum loan, because when they are on strike, our specialization and our marginal utility equilibrium will be in a deficit. There should not be strike at all. Higher salaries and increased funding in all sectors of the economics facet and department, with zero tolerance to corruption, zero tolerance to crime, and free education and free healthcare and executive best education. Every nation in Africa is a federal republic and a national economies and a national education and federation of policies of perpetual working, improve profession and support education. Greater frequency of collective bargaining, of political, greater frequency. It looks as if we are no more educated. Greater frequency of collective bargaining, of political and economic presumption, into simultaneous equality to fight wages. Our nation is an unfinished battle of professionalism. Develop airline industry, African air power. We develop airline and the best of ship, navy, air force. We need to design our own aircraft in our navy, our own ship for navy, aircraft for air force, and call it Africa air power, African navy power. That is what I want to help to build now. They design ships in Europe and Boeing in America, Airbus in Europe. And the best of security international technology with Scud missiles, cruise missiles, drone will kill the terrorists and the insurgents. We need drone to protect our nation. That is what they do in Europe, America, and China. With a strong sense of humor, of greatness, into success, into business essentials to deliver quality products made in Africa, made in Nigeria, made in Ghana, made in Cameroon, made in Central African Republic. There are more oil in the sea than offshore. Minister of Petroleum. We must be able to produce oil and sell the oil by ourselves to OPEC. We must control our economies. And make sure, Russia sell their gas and oil by themselves. They don't sell to OPEC. With great integrity in leadership, into the best of satellite television. You are the Minister of Petroleum, you cannot build refinery. It's a shame. Satellite and Netflix. That's why I'm talking from now. This movie is more than $200 billion. Because I'm talking about how to make every nation in Africa a global power. And the citizens have a future in Africa. That is how it's supposed to be. Africans cannot be dying in the ocean coming to Europe. When we are supposed to have life in Africa. Right here on the CNN African Business Startup, CNN African Voices, CNN, and Netflix series, Prince Mike Johnson as the Emperor of Africa. We must virtually program our nation into perceptive. I want to thank you, Mr. Michael Jackson, Mr. President Barack Obama, Prime Minister Patrice Lumumba, Prime Minister Isidore Sankara, President Nelson Mandela, Mr. Colin Powell, Mr. Michael Beavy, Mr. Jay-Z, Mr. Mobb Deep, Mr. Tupac Shakur, Mr. Bobby Brown, Mr. Sean Puffy Combe, and Mrs. Tyra Banks, Mrs. Oprah Winfrey, Mrs. Naomi Campbell, and everybody who support this movie, and the African people who made me the Emperor of Africa, the Attorney General, and the Archbishop. We are celebrated people of royal heritage. Africa have millions of kings. We have totally no respect in monarchy democracy. When our democracy is supposed to be monarchy democracy, we are celebrated people. We need to have the best, strong military strength. Insurgents and terrorists have no eyes or mouth to be stronger than our military. Our military must be stronger than any type of terrorist and insurgents. Yeah, bro. And bro, say the Emperor. Say the Emperor of Africa. Emperor, say it now. I'm doing a movie. Yeah, why don't I? Okay. Okay, say Emperor of Africa. Emperor.
Just Emperor. I'm a Ghana citizen.
No, Emperor now.
Emperor now. Shut up.
No, I'm doing a film as the Emperor. Yeah, I love you too, bro. So the Emperor of Africa, Archbishop Prince Mike Johnson, the Attorney General, and the Archbishop. That's why I'm here.
We are pure African, pure natural African.
Yeah, we are pure. African, we are the pure.
We are beautiful.
Yeah, we are. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. So we need to work together and make sure national security is the first responsibility of any government in the world. National security is the first responsibility of any government in the world, with millions and millions of personnel to secure a nation. Peaceful resolution to conflict, ability to live and operate as mature, functional adults. Because we are not kids, kindergarten, or irresponsible people. We need to function as mature, functional adults. Commercially viable nation, which is supposed to be. Our country is a commercial business, political entity. Commercial business, viable nation. We are supposed to be building with pure connection with every part of our country genre and scopes. Into project of questionable, affordable, viable liberty, not corruption. Like Chatham House, Queen Elizabeth School of Effective Governance, popularly known as Chatham House. Not with corruption, viable liberty, perfect prediction of a nation's characteristics, where we have to bridge a more expansive future and positive reflection to redeem our nations from shame. Because this way we are in shame now. We didn't build the country up. People are hungry. People don't have money to feed their family. There's no job. Where there's supposed to be internal economies of scale and economic political strategies for professional strategic status of magnificent social high profile, effective working of high profile ideas. The people with best idea, you make governor, ministers, president, attorney general, high profile, PhD, good people like me, now Archbishop Prince, just like President Barack Obama, like President Nelson Mandela, Prime Minister Patrice Lumumba, Prime Minister Isidro Sankara, good-hearted people with global best brain who want to help. The challenges of different examples, simple for us to build up and crush under our feet every insurgency and terrorism and every negativity that want to destroy our nation. We must be strong enough to crush every insurgency under our feet. Our operative procedure must be in collaboration of intellectual high profile definition, where our script document will be on prototype withstanding any type or kind of confrontation into global Africa economic platform. Africa global relationship has been broken for more than 600 years. We're supposed to know, because I have nothing to tell our people. We have no relationship with Europe or America or China. We're supposed to know our biggest allies are the African people. We need to love ourselves and build up Africa up with our own brain. Realistic attachment to challenge African policies. Our migration trade and enforcement with House of Democrats, House of Senate, Parliament, investigative House of Senate, in the investigation of our Parliament, zero tolerance to corruption, so that we can use the money well to build our administration. We don't have administration. We are like drunkards and thieves and killers. We need to have administration. That's what they do in Europe and America and China. And our business constitution foundation must be persuaded by governance of self-reliant. Tell the white people and the Chinese people to get out and we build our nation into cooperative expectation of foreign competition. Advancement imitator. We need to imitate advancement and support leadership of common flags of microeconomics, popular opinion of effective pursuit of political incentive into popular opinion. We are building Africa up where there should not be terrorism or insurgency. Insurgency is not tolerated in political dispensation. Terrorism, a group of terrorists killed. That's what they do in Europe and America. Because we cannot be doing terrorism when we have a serious country to build. That country has citizens. My father, your father, my mother, your mother, my life, your life depend on the nation. Since our life depends on our nation, we must seriously tackle it and build it up. And make sure every citizen in the country have future. It's called future generation plan. With the future generation plan, our country have future. With the future generation plan, our country have a purpose. With the future generation plan, our country have a destination. Destination to progress, destination to supernatural beauty, and destination to the best advantage of human quality. So we must be able to produce goods. In Europe, they produce different kind of goods and services. Goods and services that will implement our nation into productivity. Goods and services that will implement our nation into effectivity. That's what we need and have to do. That's why I'm here, because we are not thieves and killers and terrorists. Because government officials have no right to be supporting terrorism. Terrorists are killed in Europe and all over the world. We should not. Alles goed? Ik ben bezig met mijn movie.
Met je mobiel?
Met mijn film.
Oh, met je film?
Ja, kan je iets voor mij zeggen?
Hoeveel films heb je?
Kan je iets voor mij zeggen?
Wat moet ik zeggen dan?
The Emperor of Africa.
The Emperor of Africa?
Yeah, that's the title of this film. Archbishop.
Henny, zeg maar wat?
Say the Emperor.
Yeah.
The Emperor. Zeg het nou.
Yeah.
The Emperor
The Emperor
of Africa.
of Africa.
The Attorney General.
Yeah.
The Attorney General.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anthony General.
Yes.
Zet hem ook op beeld, dus dat mij heel veel.
Zeg het nou. The Attorney General. The Emperor of Africa.
The Emperor of Africa.
The Attorney General of Africa.
De Attorney General.
And the Archbishop of Africa. Prince Mike Johnson is my name. Say Prince.
Prince
Mike Johnson.
Johnson.
The Emperor.
The Emperor
of Africa.
of Africa.
Listen to him. Listen to him.
Yeah?
In anger, second in anger, listen to him.
Listen to him.
He's want to help Africa
Okay, man.
to be the greatest place in the world.
Okay, man.
Yeah, thank you well, eh? Yeah, I'm right here in Switzerland, in England, in America, doing my movie as the Emperor of Africa. Because I want all the 54 countries to be global power and all the islands becoming nation. There are more than 20 islands in Africa. I want all those islands to become nation. Because I want to be the president of Alicante Island in Africa. Because those islands can be nations too. We need to build Africa up and make sure that Africa is the greatest continent in the world. Building Africa up means power, means joy, means resilience, means that yeah, we can do it. So that's why I'm here with the best ideas. Very soon I'll be in Burkina Faso, in Guinea, in alles gut? In Liberia, in Central African Republic, where we help the leaders to build their nation. Because we must attain the global leadership status, like Europe and America. We must achieve that. It's easy. Yes, we can. We can do it. Yes, we can do it. You know? That's why I'm here. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Oscar-winning movie, Archbishop Prince Mike Johnson as the Attorney General of Africa, the Archbishop of Africa, and the Emperor of Africa, right here on the CNN African Business Startup, CNN African Voices. Hi, how you doing? So very soon I'll be in Addis Ababa, where I will form the United States of Africa. It's a better name. If President Barack Obama was here, President Barack Obama would have told me it's a better name, and that makes me a better man. Because our people, they don't understand the truth. They don't want to respect the truth. They're supposed to know that the United States of Africa is a better name. They're supposed to know that I shouldn't ask him nothing about Africa again. Because we're supposed to know that the United States of Africa is a better name. So we don't need President Barack Obama to tell us that United States of Africa is a better name. That's what I'm doing, why I'm doing that now. And we don't need President Barack Obama to tell us about free and fair election before the election, during the election, and after the vote are counted. That's why I'm doing that now. President Barack Obama said it, and I'm saying it too. Before the election, during the election, and after the vote are counted, our election must be computerized with peace. Because we are not thieves and rogues and killers. We can build up a nation with peace. Because national development is a peaceful democratic process. We have no right to be doing terrorism. All right, let's go. Can you eat for my do? Can you do something for me? I'm doing a movie. I just want you to say the Emperor of Africa. Can you say that for me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Say Archbishop.
What?
Archbishop.
Archbishop.
Prince Mike Johnson.
Prince Mike Johnson.
The Emperor.
The Emperor.
Of Africa.
Africa.
The Attorney General.
Yeah.
The Attorney General.
Attorney General.
Of Africa.
Africa.
And the Archbishop.
And the Archbishop.
Of Africa.
Of Africa.
Yeah, so that you can stay in Africa. That's why I'm doing this movie with peace, because we are not killers.
Got you.
Where are you from?
I'm half Korean, half Senegalese.
Senegalese?
Yeah.
Oh, nice
You?
to meet you, man.
You?
So how will you describe this movie?
This movie is going to be great.
Okay.
Represent Africa.
Okay.
And it's going to educate you.
Okay, so how will you describe me?
I gotta do it.
How will you describe me?
You look fashionable, bro.
Okay, thanks, huh? Yeah, take care. So that's why I'm doing this film. Let me take a break right here. I'll be right back. Right here in New York City. New York City. I'll be right back in the second stanza of this movie. So I want to thank Mr. Michael Jackson, President Barack Obama, Prime Minister Patrice Lumumba, Mrs. Oprah Winfrey, Mr. Michael Bivy, Mr. Mobb Deep, Mr. Jay-Z, Mrs. Tyra Banks, Mrs. Naomi Campbell, Mr. Sean Puffycombe, Mr. John Travolta, Mr. Mel Gibson, and everybody who has supported this movie one way or the other. You've been busy with my movie.
Yeah, more, man.
Yeah.
What you doing?
The Archbishop of Africa.
Hey.
Say Archbishop Prince Mike Johnson. Archbishop.
Archbishop.
Yeah, the Emperor. Say the Emperor.
The Emperor.
Of Africa.
Of Africa.
The Attorney General. The Attorney General of Africa.
No, you're wasting.
And the Archbishop of Africa. So that you can look in Africa wonen.
Ja, dat kan allemaal.
You see, Africa now sounds many boats. So that these white guys can stay in Africa with peace. That's why I'm doing this movie. Let me take a break now. I'll be right back with the second stanza of this movie. Right here from New York City in Brooklyn. Right here came from New York City, in Brooklyn. So how will you describe me? In English, how will you describe me?
Funky.
How will you describe me?
How do you look, or
Yeah,
as a
my
person?
look in English.
Yeah, you're good. You're
A bit
good
like a
looking.
politician.
Okay, I like a politician.
Yeah, a bit. Yeah.
Okay, because this music is political. This movie is political, so that's why I'm doing this film. So right here on the CNN African Business Star in the Oscar-winning movie, Archbishop Prince Mike Johnson as the Emperor of Africa, the Attorney General of Africa, and the Archbishop of Africa. So let me take a break now. I'll be right back in the second stanza of this movie, Prince Mike Johnson show.